Is that lawful law? Welcome to the Everything Else channel on YouTube. Brand new channel. Same face a lot of you have seen over at the Sight Sounds Flavors YouTube channel. I made this channel because I wanted to devote quite a bit of time on talking about Darrell Brooks Jr., the Waukesha trial, all that soft sit crap that he talked about, all of his antics, all of his Darrellisms, honor your oath, rush to judgment, tacit agreement, and of course, is that lawful law? At any point in time during this video, if you like it, please show your appreciation with a thumbs up. That support is so important. Please subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. That way you don't miss a single video. And by all means, please leave a comment down below. Your questions, your observations may be the topic of a future video. So, is that lawful law? You know, it's one of those questions that should not be asked, but he asked quite a bit of it. He interrupted Judge Darrow quite a bit. He interviewed? No, he didn't interview. He interrupted Sue Opper a lot, asking, is that lawful law? And you know, the reality of the matter is that Darrell didn't know what he was talking about. Now, what I find to be shocking, though, is that after all the antics, after the failed trial, after the appeal where he's finally shut up, a lot of these sovereign citizen types have come out of the woodwork, and they condemn the crime. Obviously, I mean, like, you'd have to be a leech, a snake, a spineless human being to not deny his actions. But they do sort of like the fact that he gave them a lot of that attention, because nobody has ever given sovereign citizens the degree of exposure that Darrell Brooks gave them. Nobody. And I've been to a few. I'm actually looking over here at this screen. I've actually been to a few forums. There's a couple of Reddits also. They're, you know, if you ask me, I will happily give them. I'm not going to put them on the description because I'm not trying to be a hater, because these people are, in the end, confused and think that they are advocating for lawful law. They're not advocating for Darrell. Rest assured of that. And that's why I'm not including the links to their little subreddits. And they are pretty little, talking maybe like 30, 40 responses, maybe a couple hundred people maximum involved. So I don't want to put the links down below, because I've got videos. I had videos over at the Sight Sounds Flavors channel. I removed them because I want to do new videos here with the benefit of hindsight, it being, you know, June 2023. I'd like to go back and redo some of those videos, but they think that Darrell made a lot of sense. You know, they hate him. They hate the crime he committed. They want to see him rot in prison, but they do believe the arguments he raised were correct. So that's crazy. And I'm not saying that because I'm a lawyer. I'm saying that just because I like to think common sense. You know, and you don't need to go to college or law school for that. You don't even need to have graduated high school for that. You just have it or you don't. And a lot of people are saying this guy's a despicable human being. What he did was horrendous, but the arguments he raised are on the money. And so I don't want to put those people out. I've had videos that have had, you know, 5, 10, 15,000 views on these topics. I don't want to have even 100 people go to them and terrorize them for basically believing in pipe dreams and, you know, empty legal theories, because at the end of the day, we're free to believe whatever we want, no matter how stupid it is. Because like I said, they condemn Darrell, they condemn the acts he committed, but they do celebrate his understanding and his explanations of sovereign citizen doctrines in open court. How well did they do for him? Not very. But the sovereign citizens believe that Darrell raised the arguments, like, for example, that the state of Wisconsin cannot be a plaintiff because the state of Wisconsin is not a living, breathing human being. Now, we know that that's nonsense, because the state of Wisconsin represents numerous living, breathing human beings. They are the residents of the state of Wisconsin, the taxpayers of the state of Wisconsin. We, the people, that's what the Constitution is based on. The U.S. government represents 300 plus million Americans, of which every single one of them is a living, breathing man or woman. So again, the idea that the U.S. government can't be a litigant. The state of Wisconsin can't be a litigant. The city of Waukesha can't be a litigant is absurd. But in the sovereign citizen community, it is, a travesty. So for that very purpose, the trial could not have gone forward based on that. Every time that Darrell said, I give for value, I return for value, they believe that that had legal meaning. When Darrell spoke of the straw man, they believe that had legal meaning. When Darrell said that he did not want to be addressed as Darrell Brooks Jr., they believe that had legal meaning. They believe that Darrell Brooks raised so many valid arguments that he, in theory, should have been able to walk out of that courthouse a free man. And they condemn him, and they condemn the crime he committed, but they also condemn the legal process that found him guilty. And that is crazy. And even if it is just a couple of hundred people on Reddits, or another couple hundred people on Facebook groups, another couple hundred people maybe on some other message boards, you start adding a couple hundred people, and now you might be talking about 10,000, 100,000, maybe even a million. Like I said, we're a country of over 300 and I don't know, what is it now, like 50 million or something like that. So even if we're dealing with 100,000 people, next to 360 million doesn't seem like a lot of people. 100,000 people is a lot of people. And if 100,000 people think that this guy, the whole while, we're laughing at these comments, at these legal theories. But if you just stop to think about it, if you stop to think about it, if you stop to think that there's 100,000 people that thought that what he was, that the sheer madness and just stupidity that he was putting out there was actually valid, it's mind-boggling. It's absolutely mind-boggling. And here we are talking about how this case is never going to die out, how people are never going to stop talking about this case. Even the title of this video is that lawful law. I'm saying it because I think it's ridiculously funny. But what if there's 100,000 people that see it and think it's valid? Because if they don't believe that that court had the power to judge Darrell, then they don't believe that the guilty verdict that they issued is valid either. So what does that make Darrell? What does that make Darrell Brooks Jr. in the mind of a sovereign citizen? What, a political prisoner? What does that make him? It's and we're not talking about stupid people either. I'm not going to put names out there, because I feel that if I do that, these people are going to get targeted, and they might even get doxxed. And these are people that condemn Darrell Brooks for what he did, but they don't believe that the court that found him guilty had the authority, had the subject matter jurisdiction. Again, we're talking about people that are using very complex legal concepts, legal terminology in their conversation. So on some level, they understand it. But in general, they don't. But what I'm trying to say is, we're not dealing with people that, aren't reading, researching, aren't articulating points. They're just so warped and so wrong that, quite frankly, it's frightening. But, to think that there's 100,000 people, and again, 100,000 is extremely conservative. If you were to add up all the conspiracy theorists, all the, anti-government sentiment, all the sovereign citizen people, Republic of Texas people, which is, they're another bunch that's very interesting. 9/11 theorists, the 5G people that think that the phone companies are going to take over the world, the people that there's a lot of people, your Alex Jones types, Alex Jones, not Joan, Alex Jones types, your Holocaust revisionists, your neo-whats, the people in those white robes that burn houses down. You add all those people, and I hate to lump them all together, but really, birds of the same feather flock together kind of thing. You go to enough of those videos, and they all start sounding the same. The militia people, the what do you call it? the ones that wear yellow, the Proud Boys. I mean, just nuts. You got your racist nuts, you got your anti-government nuts, you got your sovereign citizen nuts, but the common denominator is they're nuts. And really, honestly, 100,000 is a pretty low ball number. I mean, there's a lot of nutty people out there. You got to be absolutely nuts to think that Darrell Brooks was making valid legal arguments and was unjustly found guilty. Not because he wasn't guilty. They're not saying that he wasn't guilty because he was innocent, but they're saying that he shouldn't have been found guilty because the court lacked the subject matter jurisdiction, because there wasn't an actual victim, because there wasn't an actual petitioner, because Judge Darrell wasn't citing lawful law. That makes you nuts in my book.